It's about that time of day again. My name is Joseph. It's Wednesday evening, August the 9th. Welcome back to your nightly newsletter. We're covering crude oil, S&P, Nasdaq, gold, and we'll wrap up on the euro tonight. Crude is range-bound with a strong bull move to finish the session, which tells us to look for one more leg higher before we start fading the edges of the weekly range on Thursday. The S&P is bullish and trading at multiple levels of resistance, which tells us to look for a two-legged pullback off the high, or we need to see proof of further continuation before we start buying high tomorrow. The Nasdaq is bullish with a spike in channel, and with the recent completion of the buyer's objective, we're now waiting for pullback or proof for continuation tomorrow. Gold is bullish with a spike in channel, telling us to stay patient for seller failures down in the battle zone on Thursday, and the euro is bullish and trying to complete a full pendulum swing, while the spike in channel tells us to look for traps below the moving average for buying opportunities on Thursday. Guys, I got a great newsletter in store for you guys and gals here tonight. We've had a great week. This second week of the month of August is flying right through our fingertips. And of course, got a great video for you guys, got a great strategy for a Thursday trading session. Before we jump in though, I do want to remind you the only place to watch the full-length version of this nightly newsletter is on our blog here at sidewaysmarkets.com. If you're watching the video right now on our YouTube channel, not to worry, there's a link in the description of that YouTube video. Follow that link, come here to the blog at Sideways Markets and watch the full-length version. While you're here, don't forget, join the mailing list. I'll send you an email every evening when the nightly newsletter goes live. Follow me on social, lower left-hand corner. Follow me on StockTwits, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, whatever your favorite flavor of choice. Follow me throughout the week for links, charts, and updates throughout the week. Don't forget to grab those charts. You guys are always quick to tell me your favorite part about this nightly newsletter is that not only do I give you guys a strategy for tomorrow, but you can download all the charts from tonight's video and have them on your computer by following that link below the video on the blog. And if you do one more thing today before watch this video, right, besides watch the video, make sure you grab that free pass. You're going to learn more with me in 90 minutes on that free pass than you will anywhere else on the interwebs. Make sure you grab that free pass if you're not a member here at School of Trade, and come out and join me in the trade room as a guest. Boy, we've had a great week here so far. It's been a fantastic week in our trade room on our nightly newsletter, but we get a big day tomorrow. We're only as good as our next trade. Let's get ready here. Tomorrow's Thursday, August the 10th. What do we have on the schedule here for tomorrow? Well, this second week of the month, oftentimes not a lot of news on the second week of the month, and tomorrow continues that trend. We really don't have much. You'll notice really the only news we have to work with tomorrow is pretty much your typical Thursday morning, 8:30 a.m. jobless claims number and PPI number. So pretty much your run-of-the-mill news events on Thursday morning. So heads up on that. Nothing in the overnight session to worry about, nothing in the London session, and really not much to worry about tomorrow afternoon. The one thing I would remind you is that we are going into a summer Friday once again on the 11th. That means the end of the day on Thursday. We'll probably start getting a little bit loosey-goosey, right? Volume should dry up, right, a little bit earlier than normal at the end of the day on a Thursday. Again, summertime season. You know, we talk about this all the time in our trade room from July 4th until Labor Day weekend, right? We always expect those Fridays to be a little bit lower volume. That means end of the day tomorrow. Watch the time, right, and be careful. So early in, early out tomorrow. Of course, we'll talk about Friday's plan in tomorrow night's newsletter. Most important thing, though, tomorrow morning is news at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time. And don't forget, we'll be in our trade room tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock Eastern Time. I look forward to executing this plan with all of our advanced members. Let's jump right in. We got crude, S&P, gold, Nasdaq, euro tonight. Let's do this. Crude is range bound and testing the outer limits of the weekly range just ahead of the measured move and yesterday's high. Now, the session started inside of a range, but this recent move is really quite strong, which tells us that buyers will most likely get another shot at buying the dip before the two-try rule kicks in and price pushes back into the middle of the range tomorrow. One thing to keep in mind tomorrow, if we do see continuation, we have the prior day high, the measured move, and we're right at the edges of the weekly range. This may become a challenge to break through, right, for these bulls. So no matter how strong this move looks, we need to see some clear proof of bull continuation before we try buying new highs tomorrow. You really don't get a good appreciation of this unless you zoom out a little bit further, right? And you can see how, right, we're up around these kind of outer extremes of the last 2 days, right, of trading ranges, right? We get these extremes at the highs, extremes at the lows, and you'll see where we are. We're right around those extremes. So we're definitely up in the nosebleed seats, as I say, right? We're lofty right now. We're definitely up around those multi-day highs. We have the prior day high just overhead. We have the measured move kind of target here just overhead as well. And of course, we're around the edges of a trading range, so we call that the battle zone. I think the most important thing is understanding where we are, right? We're up around the highs of this range, so we really got to be careful trying to buy up here. With that said, though, this is a pretty perky move, right, to finish off the session today. It's a pretty strong move. Now, what do we always say? Anytime we see a strong move in one direction, what usually happens? Yeah, a pullback, right, and a retest of the high. So in my opinion, you're probably going to get one more shot at this thing. Let's get one of these levels marked up down here for you guys. So I would be watching, really watching this area here tomorrow, right, below that 49.46, right, and of course down into that no trade zone. So really to see a nice deep pullback here so you can finish off that move back up. Now remember, big strong move in one direction, pullback, retest the high. What does that look like? Yeah, that's the 2-try rule now, right? So 1 try, 2 try, and then as soon as we start seeing that second try fail, right, that's going to be our sign now to start looking to sell back down into that range. Remember, we got to see a lot more proof than just an attempt to go through that high. So just kind of recap here right now. Strong move up. We're at the edges, so really important we don't buy high. Strong move up. Look for that. I'd look for that pullback and a retest of that high. So we're looking for those buying opportunities down at support levels, down around possibly the top of this range, using that swing at 46, right, for that pullback back up. Once we get that pullback back to retest the high, now it's really important timeout. Right, timeout up here. Are we going to see price continue and explode through? Will it explode to new highs? That'll be the proof we need of further continuation. Or will we see what I would expect, and that is some consolidation up here, and then it's kind of waiting to see, right, do we end up rolling over, right, and then going back into that range tomorrow. So some different opportunities here for a trap low below the 46, or maybe a failure pattern here below the moving average, seller failure below the moving average, or hey, you know what, maybe we see even more of a pronounced pullback here. Maybe it ends up being a 2-legged pullback, right, and we're watching from there. The bottom line is we should see buyers try one more time to go retest that high. Once we get there, though, then that becomes 1 try, 2 try, and we then look for that failure now to start selling back into that range tomorrow. Remember, if we do see it push through, watch for that. Literally, I want to see this market explode through that prior day high because, again, we are looking at this as a multi-day, right, kind of a weekly range high up here, and I really don't trust it. It looks pretty strong right now, but I mean, how many times do we see a market look real strong? By the time it gets to the edges of the range, it backs off and it collapses back down in. Stay away from the no trade zone. Stay away from the middle of that range. And also, don't forget, if we end up collapsing back down again, this will then, of course, be the pendulum swing all the way back down, right? So keep your eyes on the opposite side of that range tomorrow. Guys, don't forget, we're going to be in our trade room tomorrow morning, 8 o'clock Eastern time with all of our advanced members, and we'll do this together. You don't need to go at this alone. Always want to make sure to invite you guys out to come join us, brand new clients, and trade with me tomorrow in the trade room. Let's keep going. About some S&P. S&P is bullish with a channel, a measured move, a battle zone, and hold on. Yeah, that's the prior day high all the way up top there at 88.5, right? Remember that prior day high? Well, the bull channel tells us to avoid buying into the high, right? Get a bull channel right now. We're right at the high of that bull channel. Now, we obviously don't want to buy into the high. And so we're basically waiting for either rotation back down to the low or proof the buyers are looking for more continuation through the highs, right? Possibly for a spike in channel tomorrow. This measured move is a major objective, which tells us to look for buying opportunities after a 2-legged pullback, preferably into the battle zone with a target going back up to retest the high. And of course, Can't forget about the big runner target tomorrow is all the way back up to yesterday's high. We're definitely not there yet, but we definitely have that on our radar, because as I look left, remember that news event that came out yesterday afternoon? Remember the news that sent prices collapsing? Yeah, well, that could easily be seen as nothing more than a deep pullback for those buyers to buy this sucker right back up, right to the highs from yesterday. We are clearly nowhere near that right now, but that is what the buyers are kind of dreaming about tomorrow if we can get this thing to run. Now, couple things here tomorrow. Again, final runner target up at that prior day high, but really right now, most important thing, there are three things you want to be thinking about right now. First of all, we have that bull channel. Now, bull channels are really important first to qualify with good rotation. You'll notice we have great rotation earlier on in that channel. So this is definitely a kind of an anchor, right? Kind of an anchor there, right? That support trend line. So that automatically tells us that that's where we're probably going to see a lot of buyers trying to use that trend line. It also tells us to be very, very careful buying up around this high, right? Buying around the high. So we're clearly seeing the market in, I don't want to say overbought territory, but it's pretty expensive, right? We're a good distance away from the moving average. I'd rather be a buyer back around the moving average, or even better, below the moving average, right, in a bull market. So that gives us some reference, right? That gives us kind of a frame of reference here as far as where our best trades are going to come. Another big clue. Now, I got to be honest, I'm stretching this a little bit here. I tried to find kind of the most obvious swings to use for this measured move. Now, if you're a client of mine, we had an example like this on Crude this morning, right? If you're a client of mine, you're probably thinking, Joe, how do you know which of these legs, right, to be using right now? Well, I'm glad you asked. Even if we do use these small legs, right, even if we do start using these small legs, right, 1 leg, 2 leg, right, 3 leg, 4 leg, right? Even if we're using these small legs, we're still way outstretched, right? Out in front of these symmetrical extensions. So whether you want to use the small stuff or whether you want to use the larger stuff, I'm using the larger stuff just because it looks like that's what they're hunting for right now, right? Little hit and run candle up top there. Looks like we're at a measured move objective. Now, we just talked about this on crude oil. What happens when we have a strong move, right? We always usually see what? Pull back, retest the high. Well, this is a measured move. Measured moves are classic. Anytime we hit a measured move the first time, we typically see a two-legged pullback. It's very, very consistent with that. Two-legged pullback, off a measured move, and a revisit, right? A retest. So you'll notice that lines up nicely right with that, again, kind of that anchor trend line, right, that we talked about earlier, right? So the measured move should act as resistance. And if it does, we'll see that two-legged pullback off the high and then whoop, right back up, right, to retest the measured move. And this is not just the S&P. This is pretty much every symmetrical extension. Just because we get to that measured move, right, symmetry, just because we get to that measured move doesn't mean it's a bear market. It just means we don't want to buy high, right? So look for that pullback and then back up to retest the high. But there's one more thing I want you guys to be thinking about, and that is this move here. Right? This move here. This move here it's not messing around, right? It's the biggest, strongest move we saw all day. It's coming off the prior week low, almost as if to give those buyers that, right, that confidence they need to buy low, really to really load up this sucker. Now, big strong move higher here. What are some options here that may happen? You know, because I'm thinking right now, the way this market is moving from low to high, this might just keep going, right? This might just keep going. It might just keep blowing through it because, again, this is not, we're right about now, we're kind of losing the luster, right? The sugar rush is wearing off from that news event, right, that sent prices running lower yesterday afternoon. Remember we were talking about yesterday afternoon, right? We were thinking spike in channel, ended up being a spike in range, and you took my advice, right, and kept selling high. You had a great day, right? Took my advice from last night's newsletter and sold high on the S&P. You were just focused on selling high, selling high, selling high. It was tough to lose money today if you focused on selling high, right? It was tough to lose money today in the S&P. A lot of markets, if you follow the advice from last night's newsletter. So the bottom line is it looks like this might be the beginning of a short covering rally. And again, we kind of know, where those buyers are likely thinking. I know we covered a lot tonight on the newsletter. I know as a new trader how easy it can be to get overwhelmed. But guys, don't worry. We got you covered here at School of Trade. I have a great free trial. If you want to learn more about how we trade here at School of Trade, what we trade, why we trade, when we trade, all the patterns, the analysis, make sure you join that free trial. If you're watching the video right now on our YouTube channel, there's a link in the description of the YouTube video. Follow that link and come join me here on the website at schooloftrade.com. Join the free trial. Learn more about our beginner, intermediate, and advanced levels of membership. We have a great payment plan option for advanced members to break up membership enrollment into small bite-sized pieces. If you want to be successful as a professional trader, I'm going to make it very, very easy to take advantage of this life-changing opportunity here as an advanced member. And don't forget, if you have questions, don't be a stranger. I know most websites are all automated robots these days, but I will pick up the phone when you call. I will personally answer your email questions, and I will be standing by on live support if you have any questions every step of the way. Guys, I hope you're having a great week so far. We got one more nightly newsletter tomorrow night for Thursday. I'll be back tomorrow evening, same time, same place. But don't forget, we're going to execute this plan tomorrow in our trade room with all of our advanced members. What are you waiting for? Now's a great time to get your career started or get your career on the right track, because don't forget, the fall season is only a few weeks away, and you're going to be happy you've invested your time now right ahead of that fall season once Labor Day holiday comes along the way. All right, guys, my name is Joseph. Thanks for being here tonight. We'll see you guys same time, same place tomorrow. You got it. Adios, amigos. Bye-bye for now.